bitch nigga, and it's like that. Welcome back. Fuck is you talking about? We finna get into this Julio case. I've been kind of wanting to get into this, but I've been getting into other shit at the same time. My thing though that I noticed is this bitch ass nigga was crying. And this is the bitch ass nigga that had the little ass gun. That's how I know he a bitch. Cause they gave him the littlest gun when they had Uzis and shit. AR-15s. This nigga got the pop pop pow. Fuck is you talking about special? And then he out there looking, they out there looking like the niggas in Harlem Nights when motherfucking Arsenio Hall and them was shooting at Eddie Murphy. Stop shooting that little ass shit, nigga. Fuck you talking about? This is the one that really annoyed me most. Cause I know you could just tell he not even built like that, bro. Look at this nigga, man. He got on a fucking turtleneck sweater, bro. Fuck out of here.
State your name for the record, sir, and spell your name for our court reporter.
My name's Sean Gathright, SeanGathright.
What's your date of birth?
I was born on October 20th, 2005.
Mr. Gathright, you've heard people speak here today on your behalf and yesterday, and I know that you wanted to address the court and the jury. So I would like to ask you what you want the jury to know.
I just want to address the court today, and, I'm not here to dispute anything. I'm just here to be a man and take responsibility and express my feelings about this whole situation. That's what I plan on doing.
Okay. And how do you feel? What?
I feel very remorseful. This is a terrible situation. It's been a traumatic experience.
Let me ask you this. So, how old were you when you were arrested?
I was 18 years old.
We heard that you had started some college, obviously probably didn't get very far, right?
Right.
What have you done since you've been in jail? Is there programs? Are there things that you can do there?
So, I've gotten into programs. I've also, I grew up, in church and, in a Christian household.
Man, I'm finna say this real fast. You see how proper this bitch ass nigga's talking. So you know he not from the hood. You can just tell. Another thing is that's really fucking blowing me outside of this weak ass Obama fucking suit, okay, is the fact that this Drake looking ass nigga is really trying to be on some give me some sympathy shit. Like he really trying to turn his life around. Bitch, you just killed this nigga.
So I refocused my, life to Christ, and, I've taken a lot of religious programs. I've read the Bible from cover to cover. I've tried to, share some word, and, we have prayer circles in the jail and stuff like that. I've led a couple, prayer circles, and I've tried to, kids around my age or, younger, since I'm 20 years old now, when you turn 18, you go to the adult pods and stuff like that. So if I see somebody who I see, has a lot of potential and has a chance to keep them from, basically being able to be corrected at this opportunity and not come back, I try to take them under my wing. As you see, I have a lot of resources and a lot of family that love me, and they've even, asked me like, hey, is there anybody in there who doesn't have somebody like that, who, could we send them some money, like, anything like that. So I've tried to, be a vessel for God to pour over my blessings into those around me.
We heard from Mr. Benoska, who said that, in prison that there is opportunities at times to be a mentor or do orientations and peer-to-peer things like that. Is that something that you'd be interested in doing?
Of course, I definitely want to, try my absolute best to course correct anybody from falling down a path that they don't have to take, especially the youth. I feel like that's my calling that God has put on my heart to,
I'm sorry, bro. I could just tell they probably beating his ass up or they punking the fuck out of him because he paying for niggas food. Talking about he trying to make a difference. Nah, nigga. They up in there extorting your punk ass. Fuck you thought this was, nigga.
Be a mentor to the youth and be a positive influence in this world.
What about those relationships? Like you said, you have a lot of people. Are you able to maintain those relationships now?
Yes, so, I mean, everybody who I, maintain a relationship with wasn't able to all be here today or, even testify. But, I talk to them daily, weekly, bi-weekly. I cherish my supporters very deeply. And I want to maintain a relationship with them for the rest of my life.
And I know, we're not going to talk about the case itself, right? But you said that you were taking accountability, you felt remorseful. Tell us what you mean by that and what statement you want to make.
To the victim's family, I want to send my deepest condolences and I understand that it's hard losing a child, a best friend, a brother, a cousin, and for that I just cannot say sorry enough. I feel terrible about the situation, but I'm a firm believer that God can use anything for good that the devil wants it for bad. And so I am grateful for the people I've met, for the lessons that I've learned, for just this experience in general, because it's one that I'll never forget, and it's going to shape the rest of my life.
Sounds like there's that saying, it's kind of cheesy, but you make lemons out of lemonade or whatever. Make
Lemonade out of lemons.
Somehow. I obviously don't make lemonade, but it sounds to me like you are going to try and...
Y'all, they gonna rape the fuck out of him. You see this nigga, they finna get in his ass. You see how this nigga sitting? I hope he got enough money to pay for Sour Patches and Skittles and all that shit while he up in there Honey Buns and shit, cause they gonna get his ass, bro. You see how this nigga really
make the best of a bad situation. Does that sound about right?
Of course.
And are you going to continue to do that?
Of course. I'm going to try to, continue a humble life, a righteous life, try to do the right things at all times, and,
Will you apprise yourself? We've heard about some, courses and programs and things that you can get involved with to stay busy in prison. Is that something that you plan to do?
Yeah, so hearing Raul's testimony was, the first glimpse that I have of, what prison it could be like. I want to stay as busy as possible, stay away from bad apples. I want to, keep a job, get into programs, try to get into any vocational things I can do, try to, keep my record clean to, go to the best incentivized things and have visits with my family. And, I just want to just stay out the way, just want to make everything, peaceful as can be.
Even knowing that you're not getting out of prison, you want to make the best of your stay there?
Of course. I mean, who wouldn't? If you're going to be somewhere for the rest of your life, why would you make your life a living hell?
And you're young, right? You're 20?
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, may I have a moment?
Yes.
I'll pass the witness.
Okay, stay.
You would agree with me that Charles Jones was young too, wasn't he?
Relatively young, yes, sir.
26, right?
Yes, sir.
That's what the evidence showed us, correct? You were sitting here watching that, correct? The evidence that came in over the last several weeks?
I was right there.
Yeah. And you want to take accountability now, correct? You want to take accountability now that this jury has found you guilty, correct?
Yes, sir.
Weeks after we went through a trial. Is that your testimony?
Objection, Your Honor.
I'm going to sustain the objection.
You indicated this was a traumatic experience. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
That's what you just testified to, correct?
That's what I said.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Stage 25C, you remember Gino Norris?
Yes, sir.
You remember him? He was also really young when this happened, wasn't he?
I didn't know how old he was.
Early 20s, 22. Would that surprise you?
No, it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah. Gino Norris, who's not a gang member, who's Charles Jones' friend from the time they're children.
That's the legal basis. Okay, come on up, counsel.
Well, shit quiet anyway. I want to say this. I hate when motherfuckers do this because now he's getting bashed in court. The lawyer want to make it seem like they gonna protect him and whatever. Like, nah, this man committed a crime. 2 people that got shot up and died or whatever in a car when they was going to a party to go kick it and have fun, and over a situation he's not even involved in. This soft ass nigga shouldn't even be in this situation. This ain't even a spot for him to be in. But he finna definitely get fucked. Not even on no jail shit, but on some like, you fucked your life up. You see your mama crying all on the bench and shit. Like, people be wanting this lifestyle, be wanting all of these issues and shit. But for what, bro? What's the real cost? And he done threw his whole future away. Nigga sitting there talking about he got resources and all this other shit. He using his resources to help pay for other. Like, you know you shouldn't be there. You know you shouldn't be there. Like, God know you shouldn't be there. But you put yourself there to your decisions and your mistakes, and you fucked up. And you gotta face the fact that you fucked up. So I respect that lawyer for showing him them pictures. I respect that lawyer for actually getting on his ass. Cause it don't matter what you talking about right now. Right now don't matter, nigga. You did this crime already, and you didn't get no fuck. Had you got away with the crime, you would have been partying, drinking Don Julio, and all that other pussy ass shit.
26C, Xavier Edwards. 25C, Gino Norris. And you saw the autopsy photos of Charles Jones. My question to you is, after you and your friends inflicted that carnage on June 23rd, and as you were running States 2059C, this is actually you running to shoot them, but when you were running back past that Tesla, were you feeling a lot of trauma at that point?
It was so long ago, I try to not remember anything from that night.
Were you remorseful as you were running back with that AR-15 in your hands?
Like I said, I try to remember nothing from that night.
Was it traumatic to you as you went back to the car with that AR-15? Was it still smoking? Was it still warm in your hands from firing it?
Sustain the objection.
Were you feeling remorse as you were getting back into the Impala?
Like I said, I just try to focus on today and moving forward.
So the next day, that Impala, that was your car. You drove that around, right? It was your mom's, but you drove that car, correct?
Yes, sir. It was my mother's car.
Right. And that was the car you drove from Jacksonville to Tampa in, correct?
I'm going to object beyond stuff.
I'm working to a point, Your Honor.
Okay, why don't we just get there?
All right. So this car, this Impala that you drove from Jacksonville to Tampa in with Mr. Chance and Miss Andrews, the one that you drove in tandem with the Silver Cruise, the same car that you utilized to drive the assault team, the shooting team, which you were a part of that night. That same car that you drove around Tampa in the early morning hours for several hours, tracking, stalking, and hunting Charles Jones and his entourage.
Permanent, sustained.
That same Impala, you drove that to Polk County the next day, and you dropped it at your grandmother's house, right? The same grandmother who came in here last night and testified for you, correct?
Overruled, go ahead, you can answer that question.
Isn't that correct?
What is the question?
You dropped the Impala, the one that had all of these shooters in it, the one that was utilized in this murder, that was such a vital cog in this plan. You dropped it at your grandmother's house in Auburndale, didn't you?
I'm here to testify about today.
Are you going to answer that question, or are you going to avoid it? Because that's not what I asked what you were doing here today. I think we all understand what you're here to do today, what you're testifying about. I'm asking you specifically about your remorse. Were you remorseful when you dropped that car off and left it at your grandmother's house in Auburndale?
I did go to my grandmother's house.
Were you feeling remorse when you hugged her and got into the 4Runner and left her with the Impala after you wiped it down?
Sir, I'm just telling you that today I would like to express my remorse to the family and to the court.
I understand what you're trying to do today. I'm asking you, since you're trying to convince this jury that you're remorseful, were you feeling remorse that next day or later that day?
I don't remember these days in detail, how I was feeling, what I was thinking.
What about later that night when you went to Orlando? Were you feeling remorse when you were out partying at Club Parlay, celebrating what you had done that day?
That was my sister's birthday party.
What did you feel any remorse while you were drinking Don Julio tequila and putting that in your video and throwing gang signs?
I'm here
Did you
to
feel remorse
testify
then?
about today, sir. We've all seen the evidence. We've all reviewed everything.
Mr. Chance, it's not time for you now to make speeches. You've politely answered your counsel's questions. Can you not answer the state's questions? Is there something about my question you don't understand?
I was getting to.
I'm
I
sorry,
was getting to.
Mr. Gathright. I called you Mr. Chance. Excuse me.
I was getting to my answer. Like I said, I've seen all the evidence.
Well, we've all seen all the evidence,
Yes,
right?
sir. That's true.
And after all that,
You goofy bitch ass nigga. You was gonna leave this evidence on your grandma like that, you hoe ass nigga. That shit crazy. I ain't even really know that. I didn't know that detail. And I see why they use his goofy ass, because he was the goofy who could get them a ride to where they had to go, because the rest of them niggas broke. And the rest of them niggas just ready to, that's what the fuck is always ready to kill, is a broke nigga. Never fuck with broke niggas, because they always ready to kill somebody, because they don't got shit. So they don't got shit to lose. So they don't got shit to worry about. No bills, no rent. They living off somebody else and shit, laying on their ass.
evidence came in and this jury based their true verdict on that, convicting you. Now you're taking accountability? Is that correct?
Sustain the objection. I think the question on the table was remorse about an army job.
It is, Your Honor.
You just need to answer that question.
So I'm going to ask you very specifically, okay? So try to focus with a laser beam here, Mr. Gathright. Were you feeling remorse when you were in Club Parlay in Orlando drinking Don Julio? Were you feeling remorse for what you did earlier that day?
I don't remember how I was feeling or what I was thinking.
Were you feeling remorse when you got pulled over in the Forerunner a couple of days later by the police?
I don't remember. I was nervous. I mean, I had never been involved in any
Were you
police
feeling
matters.
remorse when you were unloading the Impala and putting all of that evidence into the Forerunner? Did you feel remorse?
Sir, I told you I don't remember how I was feeling or what I was thinking in those days.
Mr. Gathright, you have led, you would agree with me, an extremely privileged life, haven't you?
Yes, sir.
You would agree with that, correct?
I would.
You've had a loving mother, correct?
Yes, sir.
A loving sister, correct?
Yes, sir.
You've had two wonderful grandmothers, correct?
Yes, sir.
You would agree with me, right?
I couldn't deny that.
One of which probably, I'm assuming, sacrificed and paid for you to go to that private school, that preparatory school, correct?
It wasn't paid. It was a magnet program, so I had to apply, and it was a lottery system.
It was a lottery system. Okay, so it was a magnet.
Yes, sir.
All right. She supported you going there, did she not?
Everybody did.
Gave
Yes, sir.
you open use of her house, welcomed you, treated you, and parented you, basically, didn't she?
Yes, sir.
Took care of you when your parents were deployed, correct?
Yes, sir. At the time, I was living with my grandmother. Both of my parents had been either retired or out of the military. I was just living there more so. I needed a change of scenery, and my relationship with my father wasn't sustainable.
Okay. This is when you're in Oxford with your grandmother.
Yes, sir.
The nice lady we saw earlier came in here.
Yes, sir.
The one that has supported you and spoke so lovingly about you, correct?
Yes, sir.
And so you went to this preparatory school, and whether you got in there through a lottery or not, you would agree with me, not everybody gets to go to a school like that, correct?
The lottery school, the magnet school I went to was in middle school when I was living in Jacksonville. The school I went to in Oxford, it was just a public high school.
A public high school.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
my mistake. So you went to that preparatory school in Jacksonville.
Yes, sir.
But again, that school was not something that every kid gets to go to, right?
No, sir.
Not every kid gets to have a counselor and a role model like Mr. Edwards, correct?
No, sir. I was very blessed.
And not many children get to fly in planes with their stepfather, correct?
No, sir.
And fly around in Asia and get to see islands off the coast of Okinawa, correct?
No, sir. I was
And go on
very
camp-
blessed.
You are very blessed, aren't you?
Yes, sir.
And not every kid gets to go to Scotland, right?
No, sir.
Or Ireland,
No, sir.
or Paris,
No, sir.
or London,
No, sir.
or Spain,
No, sir.
Cape Town, or Johannesburg, or both. in South Africa?
Cape Town.
Cape Town, beautiful city, right?
Yeah.
You got to go experience that when you were growing up, correct?
I did.
Because you had such loving people around you supporting you, correct?
Yes, sir.
In fact, your grandmother went with you on that trip, did she not? Or not on that one, but on the ones to
Several
Europe,
trips,
correct?
yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
And we heard you got to meet up with your sister in one of those trips, correct?
I did. I had the privilege.
So you always had someone there taking care of you, and you always had good, strong male role models, including people at your grandmother's church and your stepfather, Mr. Harrington, correct?
I had male role models in my life growing up, but in my more formative years, more so 16 to 18, I didn't. I did not have a relationship with my father, and the male role models that came and testified, they were present but not intimately as whenever I was younger, maybe middle school years. But when I turned around 16 to 18, it was the females that actually had that caregiving and, you know, nurturing relationship with me. But
Thank you for clarifying that.
Nigga, the females is supposed to have the caring and the nurturing relationship with you, fucking doofus. Man, this is the softest nigga I ever seen in my life go to jail for a crime like this, bro. That's one. Two, they gonna get his ass when he get in there, bro. They finna get in that ass, boy. I hope you don't see this, nigga, because I don't want you to be shook up, because you look shook up already as is. But no, for one, you gotta understand, he talking about a 2-year period right before he ends up going to jail or whatever for the rest of his life. One, your grandma gonna die by the time you even, I don't even think you gonna get parole, so you gonna miss that. Two, who the fuck is gonna make sure your mom's is good? Who gonna make sure your sister's good? Like, it's another thing niggas don't think about. And he's talking about that 2-year time period like it's like he didn't never had nobody in his life. Like, nigga, it's people who never had no male figure in their life. And 9 times out of 10, it seemed like you the bitch ass nigga in the situation, and you probably just had issues with your parent because of the simple fact they just didn't do what you want them to do, or didn't like the way you was acting or being, and you was probably going down the wrong path. As niggas could probably see that and tell. Cause I highly doubt if a man is gonna take his family, his son, his daughter, his mama, and all of that, his wife and all of that overseas, bro, to Africa, Ireland. I ain't never seen these places before, bro. Never seen these places he's talking about. So the fact that he had the opportunity, bro, just show you he just really squandered his life because he needed an excuse to crash out. He needed to be a victim in some way, shape, or form to make it seem like he could relate to the people that he was hanging with or wanting to hang with or wanting to be like. He wanted to act like he didn't have no father in the household. No, nigga, you got a father, you just don't agree with him. He wants to act like he don't have no support system, but at the same time saying he do have a support system. He wants to act like he didn't have privilege, but at the same time then you know he did have privilege. It might have not been privilege all the way through, but it was privilege at certain points of your life that should have made you not even feel like you had to go this route or end up in this area or be wearing these shoes now. And this is why I like this lawyer, is because of the simple fact, nigga, if you shit on the plate, they gonna put it in your motherfucking face, and you need to smell the shit you done cooked up now.
And I appreciate it.
yes,
So,
sir. Towards the more recent years, I didn't have that one-on-one and very close relationship with, you know, those male role models in my life. You know, you heard my stepfather say, you know, after the divorce.
I did hear that, Mr. Chance. Let me stop you,
Mr.
okay,
Gathright.
and we'll go back to my question. I'm sorry?
Mr. Gathright.
I'm sorry, I keep calling you that, Mr. Gathright. Let me go back to what you said earlier. Between 16 and 18, you didn't have a male role model? Is that what you're telling the jury?
I'm not saying I didn't have any male role models, but day to day, you know, young men need strong.
That's not what I
influence.
asked. I asked if you had a male role model between 16 and 18.
I had a figure that I could go to, but not intimately.
Mr. Edwards, right?
Yes, sir.
He had stayed in contact with you even when you graduated into high school, correct?
Yes, sir. We definitely maintained a relationship, but
And he
it
seemed
wasn't.
to be pretty enthusiastic about that, right?
Yes, sir.
In
Yes.
fact, you went on a cruise with him at some point, did you not?
Yeah, when I was younger, yes. We had
Okay.
a very close relationship.
And then from what you're saying, if I understand it right, the females I'm assuming you're talking about your grandmothers and your mom
Uh,
stepped into the gap?
yes, sir. Yes, sir. It was grandmother's mother, sister. Those
So
my, those
let
my
me
parents.
see if I got this right. When you were being brought up, and you were being brought up by a mother who was enlisted or an officer in the military, an officer, wasn't she?
I don't know exactly what her rank is. I know she was a sergeant.
But in the Marine Corps.
Yes, sir. She was in the Marine Corps.
All right. And then you had a stepfather who was in the Air Force, right?
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was.
From the time you were 3 all the way up to when they divorced in 2020.
Yes, sir.
All right. They taught you right from wrong, correct?
Yes, sir.
And we
Of
heard
course.
that from your
Yes, sir.
grandmother,
Yes,
right?
sir. Yeah. Of course. Yes, sir.
Miss Lyle, she told us the same thing.
Right.
They brought you up in the church. They taught you about the 10 Commandments. They taught you about right from wrong, did they not?
They did.
All right. And they were excellent role models about living your life in a disciplined, honest, and right way, correct? And being law-abiding, correct?
They really didn't have to worry about me.
Well, let me just answer my question. Would you agree with what I'm telling you? That they were excellent role models of
Yeah.
how to live a moral life?
Yes, sir. They definitely instilled the foundation.
May I have one moment, Your Honor? Yes. I have nothing else, Your Honor.
Okay, redirect.
Mr. Gathright, despite living, I think I did that. Despite having what you called a blessed upbringing, you still find yourself here today, right?
Unfortunately.
Where you had lived, we heard about Mississippi, and was Jacksonville different than where you had lived previously?
Jacksonville was unlike any other city that I've lived in or visited or any other country. The cultures, the neighborhoods, the people, it's completely different.
And how old were you when you kind of started experiencing that culture shock?
So when I moved to Jacksonville, I was about 9 or 10 years old. I didn't really know much about what the streets were, quote unquote, the streets were. It was more whenever I got to high school and I wanted to leave the magnet school that I was at. I wanted to be at more of a neighborhood school to be around the people I grew up with, because at the magnet schools, it's 30, 45 minutes away. I didn't really know anybody. I wasn't as close as the people who I grew up with. So around high school, that's when I started hearing about, and seeing, the different things like, the drugs and people dying and, stuff like that. And then I was caught completely off guard, but I was curious, like, what is this? And listening to the music, like, I was just like caught off guard. Like, I'd never experienced something like that.
This nigga stupid. This nigga stupid. For one, he was just making an excuse about all of this shit happening to him, and the fact that he didn't stay in private school. He was only in private school during this time. I knew when he said that, when he made that statement, that he was one of them pretendy niggas that be trying to go places where hood niggas is at, or they know it's busting over here in this school. Like this, he don't want to be with the privileged kids no more. He want to be with the hood niggas. Like, bro, I'm finna say this. One, matter of fact, yeah, I ain't even count this shit down. The nigga is dumb. He shouldn't even have put himself in this position. He had no knowledge of what was going on in them neighborhoods. He never grew up there for real, as you could tell from what he's saying. Talking about, I was curious. I wanted to know what this was all about. I didn't know. Like, nigga, this ain't your environment. Your environment was 30, 40 minutes ago away, nigga. Like, that was your environment. This is not your environment. You don't understand what's going on around here. You never hung out around here for real. You might know some people around here, but you don't understand what's going on around here. There's another world and there's another side of things. And you stepped into it when you got to a certain age. Like you said, when we got to high school, about 16, 18. Correct? Cool. We can get into that part. You on some late blooming shit trying to be in the streets. And you're not even a street person. You're not even a hood child. You coming from a 2-parent background. The lady want to point out and make it seem like, and this is why I say what I say when it comes to black people, because as a people, this happens to us so often and we accept it. We need to stop doing that. She came out the side of her neck to make it seem like just because he had this life that he still ended up in this situation, but it ain't because of the fact that he had good parents that got him in the situation. It's the fact of him being an idiot that got him into the situation. The parents did everything they could. So it ain't about necessarily where she trying to make it seem like we just some fucked up, like he just a fucked up individual who just ended up there by mistake. Like, nah, he made a decision, he made a choice, and he went out on a limb and got that shit chopped off. And his dumb ass is now about to go to jail for the rest of his life. And I'm glad he got caught. I'm glad all them niggas got caught, because I might not listen to Julio Foolio heavily, but I fuck with Julio Foolio. And I watched a few of his interviews. I fuck with Julio Foolio. And he didn't deserve to get shot like that or put out like that. Like, that ain't no way for nobody to go. And for a nigga like this to be the one doing it, yeah, lock these niggas up. Because they was using you for a ride, nigga. And you ain't see that. You a square. You a square, nigga. You a square. You a square, and you was hanging with niggas that you thought was cool, but they really wasn't shit. Them niggas was old as fuck in comparison to this nigga. I think the oldest nigga was in his 30s, bro. Like, come on now. You shouldn't even been around these guys, bro, at 18. You supposed to be trying to get you some coochie, nigga. I was trying to get some pussy at 18. This is how I know niggas is ass backwards nowadays, because they not trying to get no money or no ass. So, like, I don't understand niggas' mentality. But as far as the Florida thing, it don't sound no different from no other hood. If you involved in the hood, you know hood news. You know hood politics. You know what's going on. If you not, you don't. Which you could clearly see he didn't. And if you don't, you should stay the fuck out of it, because you don't want to get caught up in it. Which he clearly just got caught up in. And this is a situation where now, this is a prime example. You got a weak ass nigga like this going to jail amongst a bunch of niggas that done did this, that, and the third. And this is his first time even having an encounter with the law. For real. But then he's still trying to make it seem like he was out here hanging tough. Fuck out of here. 1 minute you here, next minute you there. Like, if I was the judge, I would have pointed that out. 1 minute you acting like, okay, you was out here kicking it. Next minute you out here acting like, oh, I don't know nothing. I don't understand nothing. Oh, I fainted. I can't remember. I don't know what I was feeling. How I felt. Like, stop with that pussy ass shit, bro. You commit the crime, nigga. Commit to the crime, nigga. Don't be sitting there acting like no bitch, because they finna give your ass a life, nigga, or you might die because of your crime. You knew the consequence. Matter of fact, you probably didn't even know the consequence, because you probably didn't even think about the consequence when you did this. Because I know 99% of these niggas don't think about the consequence when they do shit like this. But I'm glad you about to deal with the consequence of shit like this, because I'm getting sick of seeing black men get killed in cities that they from and areas that they from where people know them and people be on some hating shit. And I'm getting sick of haters getting away with shit. I wish they caught the niggas that killed Tupac. I wish they caught the nigga that killed Biggie. I wish they caught all the niggas that killed all the niggas throughout history that for no reason they out here kicking it, minding their own business, and here you come. And you done shot this man, killed this man, Young Dolph, etc. Lil Snoop. They caught that nigga, but still, this is an example of so many young black males being killed in the cities that they from, the areas that they from, because these niggas be hating, or because these bitch ass niggas just be having beef with these niggas and like can't just let the shit slide, nigga. Let the shit slide, nigga. Niggas need to learn how to get money, not to take each other out. That's why the fuck we so behind. That's why we so overpowered. That's really the reason why we so fucked up right now. That's one of the main reasons these young adults don't have no fucking 2-parent households no more. You don't have full-on families no more. You got a baby daddy and a baby mama now. And a lot of times it's because the daddy in jail, or the daddy dead now. Or the daddy don't know how to be a daddy because he ain't never have a daddy. So now that's his excuse on not being a good father. I don't have time to make them type of excuses. So I really wish that my people not have time to make them type of excuses, because we come from so much more. But a nigga will tell me how we so much less and we need so much more to keep us afloat, and make it seem like we not equal unless we make a way for us to be equal. Like, nah, bitch, we equal. We all equal men. We all bleed the same. We eating shit the same. We sleep the same, my nigga. We all equal. Ain't nothing stopping you from doing or being nothing in this life, nigga. I hate these excuses niggas make. And then when they go to court, they want to tell these excuses. You had every point in life to make the right decision, nigga. You really was yo. Don't get me started on the fact that you dropped the car off at your grandma's house, because you really a bitch ass nigga for that. I wish somebody would have smacked the fuck out you for that. But y'all let me know what the fuck y'all think. Cause the little fake Drake nigga, he's blowing up. Okay, nigga look like Ice JJ Fish, but we'll wait. I'm gone.
These hoes be perfect, man. OG told me, boy, watch your back. Hey, these niggas bound to attack. Gotta know your purpose, understand what worth is. These snakes is lurking.